fast and easy to follow double stick tutorial. We're talking about how to stick fight or stick fighting training with the double sticks. I'm gonna be using escrima sticks, also known as collie sticks, Arnis sticks. It's a style of fighting stick that you see in a lot of different martial arts. It's just a short stick about as long as my middle finger into the middle of my shoulder or the armpit. Yours can be longer, shorter. Don't sweat it. I took a dowel rod that I got and I turned it into a Joe. I was done using it as a Joe. I cut it in half, and that's how I have another pair. Not this pair, but I have another pair, a little bit shorter, but it all works. The point is you can make your own. Don't wait to start. Hold one in each hand, and you're just gonna turn it up and back. The purpose of holding it straight in front of your body is to get blood to flow into your wrist, your hands. You wanna stay safe from injury during this workout. And by holding it up this way, it's gonna force you to pull your belly up and in, improving your posture, and it's going to engage the front of the shoulder. You're gonna get stronger shoulders this way. So yeah, it's kind of like a bow stick. You can cut down an old bow stick. I broke a bow last week, or a couple weeks ago, sitting in the corner. I'm gonna cut it down into a Joe first, or maybe a Hanbo. I think it might be as short as a Hanbo, so we can do some Hanbo lessons. That'll be the next stick fighting video. Learning how to stick fight is very important to me because there are sticks everywhere. You can pick up a stick and defend yourself from multiple attackers, from a bigger opponent, from somebody with a knife. They're very practical. And think about improvised sticks. What could be a stick? You can roll up a magazine very tightly. You can, see how I do it out to the side? That's going to engage the side and the back of the shoulder. I want you to have really strong shoulders, front and side and back, so that when you fight for self-defense, you don't have an injury. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here for this lesson. Now, I want to talk about how you're going to hold your double sticks. You're going to have this one here. Hi, Kyle, it's good to see you. That's a bummer. Cut it down and make yourself a short fighting stick. If you got it from one of my links, you can call the company and they'll send you a new one. From here, you want to have this much room, about the width of a hand. And this has a very important purpose. This is to strike. You can come straight in this way with a jab. Think about, for self-defense, right straight into the face, nose, eyes, mouth, into the throat, permanent damage into the solar plexus, into the groin, coming straight down. But think about that straight line self-defense attack. That's what this is for. That's why you need that. You can bring it around the side, temple, into the body, into the ribs. Maybe it's that vicious dog out while you're out for a run. You also have this coming across from the other side, striking this way. My favorite is always coming straight in. And think about this, all of the power and weight of your body going into the throat for self-defense. But you have to have this. You also use this to catch some weapons and to strip weapons right out of the hand. So you want to have about this much length. I think these are 28 inches. They usually sell them. If you look at the link below, you'll see in that first link I put down there, if you go to that martial arts store, you'll see different lengths. I think 26, 28 inches are typical adult sizes, 24 for kids, 22 maybe. But don't overthink it. If you have a stick and you want to get started right now today, cut a stick in half, a broomstick, cut the broom off, cut the broomstick in half, and you have 2 sticks. You'll be able to defend yourself. I have seen Cobra Kai, but just the first season. I just don't have a lot of time right now. I'd rather spend it with you training like this than watching a show. So I have it here. I'm going to have some room coming out of the bottom, and I want you to do another warm up where you're dropping the stick forward and bringing it back this way. Now, you can open your hand. Don't. You can. You'll see people do this and it goes faster, but that's really poor technique. And when you run into a body for self-defense or a head or another weapon, there's a good chance it's coming out of your hand. You also want to increase flexibility in the joint, in those muscles. You want to get the flexibility, and the only way you're going to get that is with the hand closed. So you're going to go forward and down, around first. This is also going to strengthen your grip. When you start aggressively defending yourself with these sticks, I'm going to show you how today, very practically, when you learn how to double stick fight or for self-defense, you have to have a really strong grip. And this is gonna get you there very quickly. You're just pushing down, your palm is facing the sky, the stick drops past your elbow, past the back of your shoulder, and then again to the front of your body. So this is just a forward spin. I want you to do this for 30 seconds. Get some blood into the joint, warm everything up, lubricate the joint, stay safe from injury while building your grip, and then reverse it, pulling it back, dropping it behind you, this way, coming around the back. You're gonna do this for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna go forward again. So forward 30 seconds, back 30 seconds, and then put them together. Go forward a few times, back a few times, and that's really gonna build strength in the grip. That's gonna give you what you need to stay safe. Now let's talk immediately about how do you defend yourself. And my first choice is always gonna be a thrusting motion right into the soft tissue of his face for self-defense. Think about their nose, eyes, teeth, throat. You want to remove or destroy a target of the threat. So let's say this guy's the threat. You don't know if he's got a knife or not. You don't know if he's got buddies, 2 or 3 people, or maybe you do. Maybe you see him. Maybe you see a knife. As soon as you feel the threat and you know you have to defend yourself, you're going to immediately go shortest distance possible is that straight line. You're going right to the face. Immediate, direct, explosive. Now this is not going to be your hardest strike. This is going to be your hardest strike. That's going to be your hardest strike. Maybe one of those will be your hardest strike, or straight down on top. And you're going to use those after this one. You want to try to maintain distance. Keep that threat away from you. You can move back while you thrust, move forward while you thrust, create more damage. But either way, soft tissue versus hard wood. In this case, these are rattan. This is grass, but it's as hard as a piece of wood, if not harder. Straight in. Think about the targets you can remove or destroy, his ability to see you, his nose, his ability to breathe temporarily, teeth down his throat temporarily, self-defense, or permanently for self-defense. Into the solar plexus, into that groin, into the private parts. Maybe it's that vicious animal while you're out for a run. You have to defend yourself. You have to be very explosive, quick. Yes, think of poke, or I like to think of thrust. Poke is like, for me, in my mind, it's like a little bit of tap. A thrust is like, whoom, you're going through him. So you want to try to go through in that straight line first. That's the first way I want you to practice defending yourself. And think about targets. In your mind, say face, or even more specific, eyes, nose, mouth, throat, solar plexus, groin, privates, dog snout. That vicious one, not just any dog, but you know what I'm talking about. Real quick, simple, basic strikes. Practice thrusting. And if you have something to hit it. If not, get in your protected position, sticks between you and the threat, a little bit coming out of the bottom, and just practice. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, from this long distance, this longer distance, you're going to go to the second type of strike, which is going to be a slashing strike. From here, and I'm going to build, I want you to build combinations, striking combinations. Make this number 1, make that number 2. Number 2, coming from your shoulder, forward, not up here, but from here, in and through. Think of an arc. You have this joint here, your shoulder joint, that makes your arm, if it's straight, move in a circular motion, right? You're drawing a circle with the arm because of the pivot point. That's the same thing as this slicing strike. That's different than a chop, chop, chop motion. Chop is from the elbow to the hand is not very powerful. The whole arm turning through your spine, boom, that's pure speed, pure power. So you're gonna thrust, that's number 1. Number 2 is that slicing strike. Now, does that mean that's what you're gonna do for every self-defense situation? Absolutely not. You're always gonna ask yourself, what are the targets you can remove or destroy? And then you're gonna go for them. But we're gonna practice in combination. Strike with a thrust, strike with that first angle, and then I wanna show you a second angle. So from the right, from the left, same right hand, right side, left side. 1, 2, 1, 2. From here, 1, 2, 3. Then switch your feet, put your other foot forward. Here's my left or right side. thrust with the right, slice with the left, come from the right side, same thing with the left. So 1, 2, 3. If you have a target, thrust, strike, strike. Start slowly, then gradually start to speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. Yeah, any part of the body. But your point is, this is self-defense. This is not, I'm going to show you, if we have time in this video, we're going to do this Sinawali, because that's a great way to disguise repetition, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to grow your brain and challenge yourself, but that's not the practicality of double stick fighting. Double stick fighting for self-defense, thrust, angular strikes. Now you have angles down, you have angles up. Anytime you come up from the same side of the body, right hand, right side, yeah, I love it. It sounds like drums too. You're gonna bring it up from here. Your palm is facing up. And that's because when you run into their body for self-defense or their hand or their weapon, maybe they're swinging that skateboard and you're knocking it out of there, you're running into something. You want the resistance to be through the palm of your hand and not through, coming this way, the fingers, which open and will peel off. So you're gonna create leverage on the stick when you hit the body for self-defense. And if your hand's in the wrong position, it's gonna pop out. So know that when you come from the same side of the body, right side to the left side in that upper strike, your palm is gonna be up. When you come from the other side, for the same reason, your palm will be down. So it comes up and down. On the left hand, palm up, palm down. So you're gonna start here in a better position, get behind your sticks between you and the threat, thrust, strike down, down, strike up, switch your feet, better position, thrust, 1, 2, 3, 4, switch feet, thrust. I think I did the same side twice, but you get the idea. Practice with the left side thrusting, the right side doing the 4 strikes, switch your feet, get in a better position, sticks between you and the threat, make a nice straight line, thrust, down, down, up, up. And as you get warmed up, go faster, faster, always faster, so you can put the pressure on your body, on your brain, on the sticks during practice and not when you need it the first time. That means in a real situation, life or death, your life or death, that shouldn't be the first time you're going as fast as you can. You want to learn how it feels now when you have time to practice. Prepare or panic, prepare or perish. This is preparation. Now, the next strike is going to be a horizontal strike coming through the middle. And you have all these levels. Every level is available to you. It depends on the target. What's the target? You're going to remove his ability to think. You're going to knock him out, put him unconscious. It's a good way to end the fight for self-defense. Going through and then turning down and back. And the palms up for the same reason as before. When it hits resistance, his body for self-defense, it's not going to strip out of your hand. So you're going to slice through, slice back. Face, arm, ribs, waist, knee. You get the idea. Knee and vicious dog. You're out for a run. You need to defend yourself. Practice that, all these different levels. Put it together. Thrust, 2 angles down, 2 angles up, and then 2 horizontal strikes. The last one, straight down the middle, coming here. And on all these strikes, I'm rotating around my center line, which is a fancy way to say spine, right? I'm rotating around the spine. That's picking up, that's giving you the power you need to end the fight. Thrust, angle down, up, up, through, and back, straight down. And then remember that arc. It might start bent, but it ends extended all the way out, but you still maintain that nice angle so you can fight from behind the stick. Now, lastly, I want to show you in combination, we're going to do 1 thrust, 1 strike here. I'm going to bring it back horizontally, and then using that front hand again, I'm going to leap in like a gnome. I'm going to leap in. I'm going to hit with that short side and just a straight in, going for the throat for self-defense, or to the face, or to the solar plexus, or down into the groin. But from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, coming straight in. I know it's coming off of this side, but it's because I'm looking at you while I'm looking at that. From here, it would be 1, 2, 3, and then just straight in. However this comes in or comes out, or comes down, doesn't really matter. As long as you can weave them together, put them together, that's what counts, and as long as it works. There are countless moves, or variations of moves. There are at least 12 different angles. We didn't talk about these that are in traditional FMA or Filipino martial arts, using like escrima, Arnis, Kali sticks. You can learn a lot more, but I want you to know from the first day you pick them up, how do you carry these for self-defense? You need to have a little room here in the bottom. What are the basic strikes, or kinds of strikes? Thrusting strikes, slashing strikes, and jabbing strikes, right? Once you know that, then you can build some more and you can learn more of the esoteric or the aesthetic, the esoteric, the interesting pieces, the history, the artistry of the Filipino martial arts, because there's a lot there. There's a lot of beauty there. Go look at Dan Inosanto. Go follow Dan Inosanto or Tommy Taboda or one of these guys. Who's the guy that does all the movie stuff? He's a stunt fighting guy. He's a Dan Inosanto guy. Why can't I think of his name? I think he's also on, you see him on that Forged in, maybe it's just called Forged. They build knives and swords, slicing stuff up. But there are a lot of great guys out there who will teach you way more than I know, and they'll teach you much more correctly in the finer points. But don't wait for the finer points. If you have an interest in it, you want to know how to defend yourself, grab the double sticks and get started training. I'm going to give you, as a finishing final thing, I want you to see how to do the Sinawali, because again, Sinawali or weaving is where a lot of people come into this style and they really want to they really want to learn how to weave because it looks cool and it's a good way to train. Blocking with the back end of the stick, there's so many ways to block or deflect, but I don't teach blocking and deflecting as much in this kind of video because we're not getting deep in the martial art. It's just like in boxing. You'll learn how to parry, right? Block. You'll learn how to parry, but before you do all that, before you spend a lot of time parrying, and when you fight most fighters in the ring, you're not parrying a lot of fights. You're not a parry. You want to hit them first, right? Self-defense. I don't want to be second mover. I want to be the first mover. You'll learn how to block. I mean, there are all kinds of blocks that you'll do with your sticks and stuff. And like I said, you can, as you're striking, you come in, strike here, and you lock their hands up, and they've got their stick, and then all of a sudden you pull their stick out of their hand, or they've got a trainer knife, because you use a trainer, which it's not a fake knife, it's not a sharp knife, but it's a real knife, and you practice pulling the trainer out of their hand, and all that stuff works, yes. And I want to stay at the basic level. I want you to, as soon as you know there's a threat, you see that knife coming out, you're not waiting, you're not going to try to block the knife, is my point. It's like, I'm not going to show you how to block with the back end of the stick. So that's what I'm trying to say in a long way. Long story short, I'm not going to show you how to block with the end of the stick because this is not a blocking video. You can strike. You can come in straight with a strike there. You're going to, a lot of times you're going to be striking their hand, or you're trying to strike their hand. It's not just, this is what you'll see in a lot of, it's just fun. You do stick drills. Everybody wants to learn how to do that. And then with a partner who's experienced and trained, then you get to the level where you start to take away their stick. I gave you a little hint there. And then you learn how to do all that. But again, don't get too focused on that. Learn how to hit before you learn how to block. Almost everybody, like traditional martial arts, we teach all the blocks, right? All the blocks, and they're all valid. They all work. But in a life or death self-defense situation, you rely on your blocks, you're going to be in trouble most of the time. I'd rather you learn how to cover, right? And cover with the sticks looks like this. Fight from behind the sticks. And then from the cover, after you cover, and you see them coming in, I want you to learn how to move, right? Maybe drive a knee, move to the side, throw a couple punches, hit them first. Bam. Learn how to do that first. And then we can have all kinds of conversations about kata or pumse and what's the value, and why do we do all of these, all these cool things that you see in martial arts, and you're like, because that's not everybody. A lot of people get into this confusion. Yeah, hit first. And that's not a Cobra Kai thing. That's not a strike first, blah, blah, blah. That's like if you ever do, like when I was in the Marine Corps and then the Army, National Guard, there was an incentive if you read books about military history or strategy, and I love stuff like that anyway. So I read as much as I could. That's a military strategy. Hit them first, right? If you're the platoon or the squad or the group that's walking down the road and you get ambushed, you're in the worst position. You want to be the one who's doing the ambush because they attack first. Yes, you can learn how to defeat the ambush and defend and turn and destroy it, which you should, especially if you're a Marine, you'll learn that. Sometimes in the old days, the Army, they get hit and run, but not the Green Berets, man. They bam, and they get them all. But you want to be that first mover. You want to be the first mover. Let's talk about Sinawali before I get too far off track. One in each hand on the shoulders. I'm going to show you the most simple way to do it. And it's going to involve a letter V. A simple pattern is going to involve a simple pattern. I'm going to do the right hand. If I look away, it's right hand. And I call it a V because this is one half of the V. There's the other half of the V. One. Just humor me. Do number one over and over. One. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Crawl, walk, run. This is the fastest way to learn it. Right hand, and then your left hand, which is in there, get it out. Two. 1, 2. Start over. 1, 2. Start over. 1, 2. If you and I were in person, I'd probably make you start over for an hour. Maybe not, but I would guarantee you that when we were done, you would know this in your sleep with your eyes closed. 1, 2. Then 3, 4. So you're going to cross your hands, and then you're going to uncross your hands. So the way we got there was 1, 2, 3, 4. And another way to look at it is if you just use that single stick, angle 1, angle 2. 1. That's angle 1 with the right hand. You see me keep moving my head around? That's because I'm trying to see you. Don't really do that with your stick. From 1, that's angle 1 on the left hand. Again, angle 1, and then to uncross the arms, angle 2, angle 2. Now, for it to be a weaving pattern, I can't always have the same hand do this. I can't always start with the right. So the next set, when you're back here, you're going to go left hand first, left, right, left, right. So it's going to be right, left, and then left, right. There it goes over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other one on top, and then the other one on top. Here comes my right hand, left hand, and slow it back down, crawl, walk, run. Let's go back to the beginning. Right hand, left hand. Right hand, left hand. That's number 1. First we're going to have 2 halves. We're going to have the right side lead and the left side lead. So there's a V with the right, a V with the left, and on the bag, that's a strike, right? That's another strike. That brings it back, that brings it back. That's what you want to get to, that speed, that power, disguising repetition, going high, bend your knees, go low. You can do the same. You do them down this really big racket, right? Do it down there to the legs, but that's all that is. That's just 2 on each side. Now you'll also see this, and then you'll see versions of that, turning the hand, and then you'll see high and low, and there's no limit. And then you weave them together, and you do other stuff. Say that again. I think you asked if there's attack from behind. Here's one of my favorites, right? Whack them up, whack them down, but more importantly, boom, boom, boom. Anytime someone's attacking from behind, you always want to turn and see it. Maybe it's somebody you care about, and they're trying to trick you and sneak up on you or whatever, and they touch you. But always take a step and turn. If you can, if they're already holding on to you, do a version of it. It's still going to work. In a way, I mean, not. When I was a military policeman in the Marine Corps, I had to deal with bar fights and apprehending some people here and there. And so there were physical altercations. You could say in the Marine Corps, there were a lot of fist fights because that's what you do in the Marine Corps. And for some reason, at the time, as a young person full of angst, I really enjoyed that and I got into that. And then, before that, there were lots of fights and neighborhood fights and school fights and after, not lots, but my fair share. And then as I grew older and I got more into martial arts, I became more calm and I became more confident, and it became easier for me to see it coming and to disengage and to use my words. Your mom says use words, your dad says use the words. What are the words? Words are stop, back up, don't touch me. You don't have to like me, but you can't talk to me like that. And so then you learn situational awareness. What's happening around you? Don't be in the place where you're going to get hurt, right? Because now, especially, you don't know who's got a gun, and you see these ridiculous situations where all these guys get in a fight over a parking spot, and then it turns into boom, 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 and one guy loses his life, the other guy's life is ruined. Two families without fathers, or just other stupid, silly, ridiculous things because you can't control your temper because you're like a big baby and you haven't grown up. That's what happened to me. I learned how to grow up and how not to be in physical fights. And at the same time, teaching practical self-defense, I've worked with a lot of people who've been physically abused, who've been attacked, who've been harmed greatly, more than once often. And there are patterns. There are reasons why they continue to be a victim throughout their life. And then seeing them change, seeing them learn the words, seeing them learn how to bring their confidence up and change the way they feel about themselves and the way they think about themselves and the way they talk to themselves, the way you talk to yourself. Because you might be the only person today who says something nice about yourself. So listen to your words. Listen to the words that are going in your head over and over and over again. And if it's not nice, don't say it. That's a real thing. But learn how to do that. That's what I really teach, right? But this stuff, it works. Did I ever get in a fight with this? No. Have I had weapons in fights? Yes. Am I a seasoned street fighter with the scar? No. There are people out there that do that, and they might have different experiences and different perspectives. So like a lot of people, I like to start with the physical and move it to the mental and the emotional as soon as we can so that you can learn how to live a life where just by your presence, you can start to defend yourself, and then your words, and then, even higher levels and higher levels. And at the same time, and you'll see it when you start getting into training. A lot of you guys who are experienced instructors, you can speak to this too. Once a person reaches a certain level of confidence and self-esteem and self-value and what they feel about themselves and how they know about themselves, just magically somehow they start to like this. Never do that. You'll break your thumb. You'll break that right there. You roll the fingers. The thumb goes like that. A lot of people squeeze and then they change the shape of their fist. That's wrong too. The fingers roll in, the thumb comes in and down this way. And it never crosses the middle finger. If it goes like this, you've just changed the box of your fist. Never do this, ever. Don't ever do that. It hurts me just thinking about it. This is where a lot of people start, but that's the worst way to do it. That puts pressure here. As soon as this comes in, that pushes, that creates a leverage point, and that bone will snap. This, and you want it square. See how the knuckles are square? You want it square, you want that thumb there, and you're gonna hit with the two big ones. Martial arts style, hit with the two big ones. Boxers hit with the whole fist, but they have a big glove on their fist. Martial arts style, you're gonna, bam, you turn it, these two big knuckles drive through the target. That's where you practice striking. These two go like this. These two bones are very small. They go on an angle. They're unsupported. Those break. Boxers break these two bones all the time. If you ever hit the bags a lot, you might break these. These two are very strong and come in, and they're very well supported. But the punch, you have to turn. Your hand has to go forward a little bit. So these two knuckles lead, and these two lead, these two stay out of the way. See that? Big ones, little ones. So And we can go over this in another video, but since you asked and you said the thing about the thumb, I didn't want you to break your thumb. I want you to work on this, right? Roll the fingers. You should not be able to see your fingernails. Your thumb comes over and down. See how that goes that way and not that way. When it goes that way, you just got rid of your box. Now that's a punch. That's a knuckle punch. And that's a whole different ball game right there, right? And that's like, right, smashing a certain part of the body. Now, is that as strong as that? No. You see the guys breaking the wood. I've also seen the fingers snap, and they're all misshapen. You shouldn't have that either, right? You should protect your hands. And then when you hit the bag, you can bare knuckle, right? Smash, boom, come through. But I've been doing this for so long, I know I'm not going to injure my hand. But there are two things to think about. One, do a little bit of bare knuckle so that you can condition the hand, but don't go to the point where the skin starts to rub off. And if it's rubbing off, that's because you're not hitting straight. You're probably hitting and dropping. But put a glove on. Then, in wraps if you need to. Then, once you have a glove on, and I've got the gloves over there, I'm not going to grab one. You can now start to hit harder. So don't buy into this idea that gloves won't make you strong. You need to make your hands stronger without gloves. You can't hit it as hard unless you're wearing gloves. So you need both. This is the whole point of martial arts training. Oh, thank you so much, Chief of Beef. Thanks again, man. It's good to see you again. I really appreciate your donation. Things are starting to get a little bit better, and it's because of you guys. And this channel, one day, my vision is we have this global dojo, and I use this physical space for you to come visit me when you can. And then I travel around to see everybody else, and we hold seminars and stuff, but we make it more like this instead of the old style where, you just train the 10 people who are close to the dojo or whatever. So you guys are my training partners. We're all training partners. When you practice with a glove on, you'll now start to build the density. When you punch without a glove on, you start to, thank you, I appreciate that. You build that thick skin, the callus. You desensitize a little bit so you can hit harder and harder. You get more dense bones. You change the color of the bone marrow, actually changes. And you become stronger and stronger and stronger. Good, welcome, Jack. Good to see you. I hope you know Sensei Emmett and you're following Sensei Emmett. He's over there in Ireland with you. And I hope you guys get the tier 5 out of there as soon as possible. Looks like the COVID vaccinations are working, less hospitalizations, less deaths, all that. Hopefully we're all out of the woods soon. And by the woods, I mean being stuck inside. Who wants to be stuck inside? Let's get out into the woods. I'd love to do that. All right. Usually on the bottom in the chat thing, there's a little sticker, and I'm not sure where it is on yours, and then you click it, and it's not available in every country. So if you don't, you might not have it, so it might not be available. But I appreciate you either way. Just being here watching is great. Anyway, the point is, do both. Almost everybody says, no, that's not the way to do it. It's only this way. And it's not. You have to understand in martial arts, there's a million ways. Yes, freedom. A million ways, right? It's not good, it's not bad, it's different, right? The Filipino martial arts, I'm using my sticks this way. I'm using my sticks this way. I'm doing, the Salat style or the Doce Perez or the, whatever style that I learned. And then someone else says, well, we learned it this way. And you're like, that's wrong, that's wrong. No, it's not. It's different. You don't know if it's right or wrong. You haven't done it yet. Learn both. Learn everything and then find what works for you. Bruce Lee said it. Learn everything and take what's of value or something like that. But that's the whole point of martial arts. It shouldn't be these little silos and we're the only one who's right. It's like in certain religions, you get this little church somewhere out in the middle of the country and they've got 12 parishioners and they're the only ones going to heaven. Everybody else is doing it wrong. That's just ridiculous. I mean, heaven would be a pretty boring place if there's only 12 people and they're the same ones that you've been going to church with for the last 30 years. No, it's not right. This is how you understand it. This is what works for you. But learn something else. You might learn something else and it opens up. That's really, really important. No, you're right. Nothing needs gatekeepers. You're your own person. You're your own gatekeeper. And then while you're standing at the gate, you might say, what do I need a gate here for? Am I trying to keep something out or am I trying to keep something in? And then you just blow it all up and you're like, You know, it's like the saying, my favorite saying is, you know, people get frustrated because where they live is, like I used to live in Ohio, and it's gray and dull every single day. And I traveled all the time, as much as I could. That's how I met my wife, traveling down here. She's from Florida. I was traveling here all the time, trying to get out of that. And it was because of this saying where Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker from a million years ago, he's the beginning of the whole Tony Robbins movement and stuff. And he used to say, you know, stop complaining. You're not a tree. You weren't planted there. You can move. Now, a tree might not have a choice, but you're not a tree, right? If you don't like what you're doing here, go over here. Try something new, but get out of your comfort zone, and you're never going to grow if you're stuck in that comfort zone. But you guys were awesome. I got to get over to my next class, and I'll see you.